INAM, welcome to Spectrum. We're so glad that you're here.
I'm happy to be here too.
Tell me what's happened with your work. In the last 12 months, there's been a shift, there's been a change in your work, and I know a lot of it has had to do with the preparation of this particular show.
Correct.
But we're seeing some new and exciting things about your work and your use of light and your subject matter that's really taken a step up. Why don't you give us an overview of what that's about?
Sure. Well, traditionally, for the last 15 years or so, I've become known for landscapes, and especially in Europe and also in North America. But right from the beginning, when I started working when I was 4 years old, I used to do portraits, I used to do seascapes, I used to do everything, but I thought that maybe we should look into something else besides landscapes, and definitely this show was a big lead for me to consider because I was coming to Miami. What a wonderful show you guys have put together here, Spectrum, and I thought it would be a perfect location, time, and to release my new seascapes. And of course, light plays a major role, and so it's just difficult to explain in words. But the combination of your talent and emotions basically end up giving you an art that's worth looking at, worth keeping and collecting and all that.
So I think one of the questions that a lot of people have when they look at your work is oftentimes artists will work with an easel on location, other times artists will work from scrap, and other times artists will work just from their imagination, from what their idyllic thoughts are of what an image might look like. Why don't you give us an idea as we take a look at the beach scene here or the lifeguard station? Where did those images come from?
Well, last year when I came for Spectrum for the first time, I took the opportunity to drive around Miami beaches, actually, South Beach, Miami Beach, and to take some photographs to absorb in my brain, actually. But I never paint exactly the way my eyes see. I never paint exactly the way I take the photographs. These things takes 40 to 50 to 60 hours to finish one piece, so I really can't do it, especially with that size and a lot of texture, a lot of knife work on the spot. So I have to take all those images in my brain, and of course digitally also these days, and go back to my studio and work with those. And so I took the opportunity to drive around last year, and whenever I work on something, I make sure that's a combination of my imagination plus the reality. It's sort of like 50-50, and that ends up giving a perfect piece of art.
And the thing that's interesting about your work, and for those people that have seen the work before, is that texture plays a very important role in your work, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I just love playing with as much paint as possible. And of course I prefer knife over brush, and I use thick heavy linen canvas, and I never paint on stretched canvases. I like to have my response back from the surface when I'm working on, so either I tape the linen on hardwood or even on concrete, and that's the best way for me to work and get the response that I really need from the tools that I'm working with.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, you don't hear that very often from artists, so where did that technique come from? I mean, that's unusual.
I was initially trained in sketches, in charcoals and pencils and with portraits and stuff like that, and on paper, and that's I think my hands and combination of my hand and mind got trained in such a way to get this response back, the hard response back from the surface that you're working on, because the paper has to be either on a wood or a concrete or something very hard for you to work on. So that gives me a better control of what I'm trying to do, and I think I got trained, mentally speaking, just to continue with that.
That's great. Well, this has been an exciting show for us, and we hope it's going to be a very exciting show for you, because the work is absolutely exceptional.
Thank you very much.
Glad you're here.
Thanks a lot.
All right.